Brandon, I'm going to stop you here because this is kind of almost a freemium version of the data.
This episode is made possible by OIT VoIP. Find your best-in-class revenue generation for MSPs all over the world. Learn more via the link in the show notes.
Good morning and welcome to the December 3rd episode of MSP Dispatch, your source for news, community events, and commentary in the MSP channel. My name is Tony Francisco, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Brandon Martinez. Brandon, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you, Tony?
I am excellent. So this is our first time co-hosting, so I'm going to say some things that are incredibly intelligent, wildly inappropriate, and so obligatory, just dumb as a bag of hammers, and you have to sort this out and try not to laugh too much.
Sounds good. My expectations are through the roof, so I'm ready.
Well, in that case, let's just get into the news. Jumping into my first story, Ex-Verizon and Infosys employee researched U.S. cyberattacks for China. A story from channelfeatures.com. A former Verizon and Infosys employee, Ping Li, has been sentenced to 4 years in prison for acting as an agent for China's Ministry of State Security, that's the MSS. While living in Florida, Li shared sensitive information about U.S. pro-democracy advocates, hacking incidents, and his employers. He also provided details on the 2020 SolarWinds cyber attack and other hacking events targeting U.S. businesses. Li had been working with the MSS since 2012, using anonymous accounts and traveling to China for meetings. He also disclosed information on Chinese dissidents, Falun Gong members, and Infosys cybersecurity training. In addition to his prison term, Li was also fined $250,000 following the FBI's investigation. What an interesting scenario. I personally have always been terrified. I come from a former Department of Justice security background, and I am always terrified about people disclosing information because once they're part of your team, they have access to your resources. And once they have access to your resources, it is almost physically impossible to monitor all of the activity on all of your resources all of the time and correlate the data. This is more common than not. And there is some level of concern that every employer should have. But is there a way to regulate this? That's a question for you.
Yeah, for sure. I got 2 minutes left, so I'll be fast. I think from the company standpoint, the most important thing you could do is really classify your data. If you don't know what assets you have, and data is an asset, they don't exist. You need to know where they are, who's accessing them, how they access them, and in what scenarios they can get to them. So that's step 0. Make sure you know where your data is and where it's coming from. And a lot of it too kind of comes down to maintaining what has access to the data from a device standpoint too. So there's a lot of tools you have to mitigate these risks, but the question is, are you actually implementing them?
Brandon, I'm going to stop you here because this is kind of almost a freemium version of the data. If you like what you're hearing right now, we would love some feedback, some questions. I'm pretty certain we've got a place to view all this. We'll talk about that at the end. It's called the Discord server. But in the meantime, it's very clear people looking at your stuff could be good, could be very bad. But if you have a team viewing your stuff, that could be an issue, but it could also be good. But I think you're talking about that in your next story. Why don't you jump into that?
TeamViewer. TeamViewer shows off AI-driven IT support innovations. This one is from MSP Today. TeamViewer recently unveiled AI-powered features at Microsoft Ignite 2024 to improve IT support. One notable tool they have is AI-driven session insights, providing instant summaries of remote support sessions and highlighting recurring issues, helping teams resolve problems more quickly. Integrated with Microsoft Teams and Copilot, techs can manage support directly within Teams, accessing session histories and receiving AI recommendations. The integration plans to reduce task repetition and accelerate these response times. TeamViewer solutions integrate with Microsoft Intune and Dynamics 365, streamlining IT operations and boosting productivity while ensuring security and scalability. I don't know how I feel about this. One of the most common things I get asked at events and conferences is, how do we get AI to touch our data more? But my question back is, how do you know what data the AI is ingesting and where is it going and who has access to it? Your reaction there tells me you have some thoughts on that.
I have opinions. I saw a movie. What's that called? Terminator. I think it was Terminator.
Yes.
So the concept is very simple. Once something that isn't you has access to something, they can do something with it that may not be in your better interest. And in this particular case, we have a something being AI having access to your data, where now they can correlate the data, compile the data, and disseminate that data, and then act on the data faster than you can possibly imagine. Could be amazing, but it could also be terrifying. What are your thoughts on having access to all of this data?
No, I think you're 100% correct on that. I think it's kind of scary where we don't know where that data is coming from, and we get a response out of it, but where is that data going? And on that note, it raises the question of how accurate are these responses? We tried to implement a GPT-4 powered initial tier 1 recommendation tool. It was right a lot of the times, and it was hilariously wrong some other times. So it's half of making sure that the AI is, using the data properly, but also half making sure that the technicians are using the data that they get from the AI properly, and understanding that this is not a hard, all-knowing being.
Well, just as a reminder, and I love that we touched on this, as it sits today, these large language models, the AI that we have seen today is amazing, but it is not out of the box ready for everything. But you know what is out of the box ready? Community events. They're happening all the time. They're jumping at us, and we should probably talk about those now.
There's actually one going on right now, GrowCon 24, presented by Marketpedia. This is an in-person event from the 3rd to the 5th in St. Petersburg, Florida. We also have MSP Growth Day, presented by Technology Marketing Toolkit. This is an in-person event in La Jolla, California on the 10th of December. And then we have MSP M&A Growth Show, presented by Channel Program, another in-person event on the 11th in Dallas, Texas.
Excellent. So many exciting things happening. If you are unable to attend one of these events in person or virtual, you can actually jump on our, what's it called? There's something, Discord server. 3, 2, 1. Bam! Look at that. Look right there. That's where your Discord server is. So many smart people in there engaging in conversations about the things we're talking about now, and conversations, topics that are not able to be covered on the show. In fact, you can actually make recommendations for things that we can cover on the show at a later time. Get involved in the Discord server, be involved in the community events, and most importantly to everyone out there, please stay up to date. Be educated. So Brandon, you want to sign us off?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good to be on the show as always, and everyone enjoy your days.
Absolutely. Everyone, again, stay educated and be safe.
If you found this episode eye-opening, catch more MSP Dispatch at 10 a.m. throughout the week. Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.